Everyone is facing changes. No one knows what's going on. And everyone is changing places. Still, the world keeps moving on. Love must always change to sorrow, and everyone must play the game, because it's here today and gone tomorrow. Still, the world goes on the same. Always turn to sorrow, and everyone must play the game, because it's here today and gone tomorrow. Still, the world goes on the same. It's here today and gone tomorrow. Still, the world goes on the same.
The Arts Festival's outstanding artistic directors, Gary Cattell and Anna Noakes, are also musical stars of the event, famous not only for their performances, but also for their wine cellar. The chairman of the festival, Ian Terry, has been suffering from delusions of grandeur, and is pictured here in his castle with his family of musicians. Our notable president, Amanda Burton, is being greeted by the chairman. The back view of the chairman is regarded by many as being his best vista. The vice presidents, John and Lindy Carrington, outside the Barnsdale Gallery. Our esteemed secretary and stalwart of the Arts Festival, Jill Vintner, seen here wiping the blood off her knife. Stalwarts were a Republican Party faction that supported the patronage system and were responsible for the shooting of President James A. Garfield in 1881. all of which has nothing to do with the Yoxford Arts Festival. Our fiscal member, Alexis Terry, treasurer of the festival, seen here with his wife May, after he'd counted all of our money. The congenial Carol Watson, who welcomed patrons and friends to the festival. The official office manager, Jill Ellis. But where was her office? The amicable Joy Rhodes, who organised stewards and hospitality for the artists. The creative Tina Hannay, organiser of the resplendent children's art workshops. Neil Innes of the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band, the Rattles and Monty Python introduced the Meridian Piano Sextet. The Yoxford craftsman Phil Barnes came up with the idea of a treasure hunt, a silver and gold necklace with precious stones as a prize. The necklace was won by Janie McIntyre, fittingly a supporter of the Yoxford Arts Festival. Workshops for children include the Yoxford Sinfonietta, a children's orchestra, an animation workshop with Sam Steer, and hip-hop dance for children. Tina Hannay has a series of art workshops for children, and the Foresters Rock School with musical director Pete Hagen and singer-guitarist Rod McLean. Courses for all ages are Yoxford Strings, an early music workshop, and rock and roll and jive instruction. Masterclasses for experienced musicians of grade 8 are piano with Penelope Roskell and a brass and ensemble masterclass with Jonathan Williams.
In 1877, a Mr. Ricketts married a lady by the name of Clarissa, but their happiness was short-lived, and Mr. Ricketts quickly became tired of his wife's habits. And in 1878, he gave his wife £38,000 on the condition that she would move as far away from him as possible. So Mrs. Ricketts purchased a posh pile called Sartis House in the village of Yoxford. She engaged servants, a groom, and some stable lads, and made herself at home. She bought a fine carriage and some horses, and could be seen riding through the village in her brougham with her 2 Pomeranian dogs seated either side of her. She expected to be waited upon, hand and foot, and to be given the deference due to a lady of her station. She spent freely on entertaining, travelling, and on her racehorses, and rebuilt the stables of Sartis House at a cost of over £1,500. She even started to call herself Mrs. Ricketts. Eventually, Mrs. Ricketts became friends with the Honourable Morton and Mrs. North, who lived at Darsham Cottage, about a mile down the road. By this time, Mrs. Ricketts, who was very taken with gambling on both horses and in the casino, had invented an invincible system for winning at roulette. One day she shared her secret with the Norths, who were persuaded by her to part with a tidy sum of money. She promised to take their cash and increase it many times over. So it was that in the autumn of 1887, with the Norths' money in her purse, Mrs. Ricketts set off to make them a small fortune at the roulette tables of Monte Carlo. However, after a few weeks, the Honourable and Mrs. North received a telegram containing the dreaded words, "Losing heavily." It was not long after this, in December 1887, that the death of Mrs. Clarissa Ricketts, aged 48, was announced in the local newspapers. Soon afterwards, a mysterious baron arrived at Sarti's house to make arrangements for the funeral. Indeed, 2 of her own racehorses pulled the hearse to the church, where a piece of paper was pinned to the notice board with the words, "Old Mrs. Ricketts is not yet dead. 2 fat pigs are buried here instead." Gossip had it that Mrs. Ricketts was seen outside the church, looking in through the window at her own funeral, and that the baron, who bore a suspicious resemblance to Mrs. Ricketts, was seen after the wake, boarding a train at Darsham Station with a suitcase full of cash, although these facts have not been verified.
In the festival brochure is a map of event venues in case you get lost. popular literary lunch at Satis House this year featured Lady Freud, the founder of Jules Freud and Company, a small drama group touring popular classics in East Anglia and the regions. Humphrey Burton, complete with sling, introduced the concert in St. Peter's Church.
One, two, three.
Look how the little things that you say and do make me want to be with you. Rave on, crazy feeling, well I know it's got me reeling. I'm so glad you're revealing your love for me. Rave on and tell me not to be lonely. Tell me you love me only. Rave on to me. Well, look how the little things that you say and do make me want to be with you. Rave on, crazy feeling, well I know it's got me reeling. I'm so glad you're revealing your love for me. Rave on and tell me not to be lonely. Tell me you love me only. Rave on to me, rave on to me, rave on to me.